Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. This week, we're going to have a little bit of a special. So, rather than following our normal format, we've invited a couple of young people in today because as we start to talk about resilience and bouncing back and coming back out of lockdown, I just thought it was really, really important to see not so much what my generation thinks, but actually what does the generation that's had to live through this and fighting forward think about all of this. So, I'd like to welcome a couple of people. First of all, I'd like to welcome Zoe Winthrop.
Hiya, I'm Zoe and I race Europa Cup ski cross.
And Zoe, for those of us that, I've been to see you race and I'm still scarred by the experience, to be completely honest. But for any of our listeners that have never seen a ski cross race, give me in 1 minute what's ski cross all about.
So ski cross is a bit of a head-to-head competition. We race down a course, but we have a few more features, some jumps, some berms, things make it a bit more exciting. And four of us go at a time, so you get to shoulder barge a bit and first one to the bottom wins.
Okay, it's pretty exciting to watch. Um, I've also got with me Cristina Palmer. Hi.
Hiya, I'm Cristina Palmer and I race motorbikes. I do a bit of everything really. Enduro, which is kind of a long race, an hour and a half usually for me, with a couple harder bits in it, some obstacles or whatnot, and pretty much first one to the end wins as well.
Yeah, that's perfect. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm surrounded, as it were, here by two very young ladies that compete in, frankly, pretty dangerous sports. And actually, they haven't necessarily gone to plan recently. Christina, you're sitting here, aren't you? Actually, having had a pretty serious diagnosis. Just
Yeah.
give us a very quick kind of synopsis. What's happened to you?
So I was at the British sprints and I came off on the second day, and I've fractured my pelvis, and it's hard to explain unless you have an image, but it's also been pulled out on one side of the pelvis.
That actually hurts listening to you, to
Yeah.
be completely honest. And how old are you?
I'm 14.
So at 14 years old, that's a pretty serious injury for Christina. And I've got to tell you, I'm sitting here, obviously it's a podcast, so you can't see it, but she's kind of sitting here bubbly, smiling, kind of it's not stopping her in any way, shape or form. And Zoe, you are the reason I keep getting phone calls, aren't you, every 2 minutes? Where are you at the moment?
Yeah, so at the moment, I'm on my second knee injury, but I've done my ACL this time, so a bit more intense, and I've just kind of gone through an operation, but I'm getting further down the line, so it's getting better, and I'm starting to see a bit of progress with it.
And how long have you been rehabbing now, currently?
Since October, so that is...
That's where a ski racer, not maths. 6 months, 7 months, something like that. Zoe's been rehabbing, but she's at it most days actually in the gym. It's quite inspiring to watch her. The reason I wanted to get the girls in today is really simple, because actually they just utterly refuse to quit and go forwards. And I think as we start to move forward now, looking at what comes next, it's really easy to try and make excuses. And actually, the generation of these two young ladies are being tarred. They're being called snowflakes and giving up, and they want everything easy. And I'm sure that's probably true to some extent, but these two are the exact opposite of that. And I just thought if we could put today's podcast together and get these two to appeal and talk to some of their generation and make them understand what goes forward. Because if you saw the social media from these two, you think, wow, that's pretty cool. There's these two young ladies, they race motorbikes, they do ski, they go all over the world doing what they do, and it all looks pretty perfect. But actually, for those of us that are lucky enough to call them friends and be a part of the team, we see what goes on kind of behind the scenes. So this is the second time this has happened to you, and yet you're still racing.
Yeah, so this is the second knee injury, and I was lucky that the first one wasn't as bad. So it did actually help to come back from that. That I didn't have to have an operation, so that did make it easier. And I came back, and it was actually a really enjoyable experience to be back on the tour. And I think that's what's helped me this time is knowing the feeling of being able to go back and feel almost normal. You know, you're back at your sport, you're back around your friends, you're back, even your competition, who they're your competition, but you're friends with them, you know them, you get on well. So just being back around everyone, you know, that feeling of clicking into ski for the first time again and knowing your knee's going to hold up this time. Well, you hope so anyway. And so this time around, that's really helped to have that image from before. So in a way, I'm almost lucky to have had two, in that I have that previous experience, but it is hard still, this one being a bit more serious.
And I think, Christina, from your perspective, I just feel for you because you're out there, you're going super fast, don't you? First time kind of racing with the ladies. I mean, as those of you that know, I'm trying to go from novice to Dakar, and I fundamentally don't ride motorbikes anywhere near Christina because it's fundamentally embarrassing, actually. So we won't discuss that. But Christina, how did you feel? Right, so there you are, ladies, first category up. You're on the up. I think you should explain to the people listening when it all went wrong. What are you thinking when it happened?
Yeah, so it was the second day of the race. It was a 2-day race. The first day was going absolutely fantastic. Again, my first race in the ladies category, and it was a great experience. Fantastic to be against kind of people that understand more of what it's like to race in that as like a female in a male dominated sport. So it was absolutely fantastic on the Saturday, and then on Sunday it all went wrong in the first sprint actually. So I didn't even get to be there for very long, but it was so frustrating for me, just all going well, and especially with not only that weekend but the weekends following with all the important races and the big races that I've been trying so hard to get a good result for many years. It almost feels like a huge setback and a huge kind of, oh man, like I've been working so hard for this and it's all kind of been ruined. But I feel like it's, even though I'm not that far into my recovery yet, it's definitely made me a lot hungrier to get back and to get back to where I was. Even if it means that I won't be able to have enough rounds to win the championship, I'm still going to be there and show that a little off's not going to put me off for everything.
And I can understand where Christina's coming from with that. At that moment, you are kind of thinking, is this the end? Especially with her being so young, I can't even imagine doing it so young. Kind of, she's just starting her career, she's just starting to move forward, and she's had this big setback. And you do feel in that moment like this is it. You're like, you even before you even get a diagnosis, you're like, what's it going to be? What's wrong? Am I going to actually be able to come back from it? You even get the thoughts of beyond sport. You're like, is this going to affect my normal life? And I'm sure Christina's probably just going through that at the moment. And I don't know if she's had any of those thoughts yet. Kind of, they come and go in waves. Oh, well, that's what I experience anyway. So I'm sure she's going through that at the moment. But you do start to really worry, kind of just what has actually happened to you, and it can really get you down. It really, really quite affected me.
Yeah, and I think the question that I'm asked most, so whenever I do, we talk about military stuff or to about Everest is, wow, you do all these things, you inspire these people, and did you ever want to quit? And the answer is I want to quit most days. Even with our business over the last 12 months, our business has been to try and inspire as many people as possible. But actually, some days you wake up and think, I just can't do this anymore. And I think that the sort of $1 million question is, Christina, have you ever wanted to quit?
Definitely. There's times where I think, what would my life be like without this, but at the same time, every time I always get back up because I don't want to quit. It's something that I have a true passion for, and I just don't really see myself doing anything else. So I think that's a huge part of my motivation that keeps me going.
And I think, Zoe, same question.
Yeah, I have wanted to quit. Even to this day, I still think about it. It's almost like a circle. You kind of go through like I want to quit, then you go through what will I do if I quit? You start to kind of almost put a plan in place. Then you kind of go around again, and you're like, oh, but I kind of miss doing this bit or miss this one little thing. Sometimes it can be something so small. Like I had a thought once where I missed clipping my hand bits into my poles, which is the stupidest little thing, but it was a feeling I missed, and that starts to then bring you around to kind of be like, oh, but that's part of skiing, that's part of why I love the sport. And I'm sure Christina, Christina, do you have any little things you kind of miss? Anything but strange?
Definitely. Even the people that you kind of meet throughout the sport, you miss seeing them and the feeling of kind of the nerves and excitement right before the race, like when you're waiting for the gate to drop and for the flag to go down. It's nothing replaces that feeling of like happiness and joy.
Yeah, and it's quite a strange one. And then once you've kind of had that feeling, you come back around again to be like, maybe I can do this. This injury is actually not so bad. I can get through it. And it does go in circles. You come back to wanting to quit again every other day or every other week or every other month, however long you're kind of going through. But at the end of the day, you'll find something to get you through.
Guys, I think the reason I got you in today is because I actually really enjoyed both of these company. You inspire me actually, and it's really good. But also, you two are pretty cool. I don't like admitting I'm public, right? But you are actually both quite cool. Ski racers and motorbike racers, and probably not, rightly or wrongly, not the stereotypical kind of young ladies, young women, whatever. I'm guessing most young ladies your age are probably not changing tyre moves and selecting gear ratios or putting edges on their skis or single leg pistol squats, whatever, for the weekend. So potentially you two are a step away from the people that are knocking about every day. But the reason I got you in today is because I think your stories and your motivation are fantastic. So let's unlock that a little bit and let's relate that to the kids that are sat right now, because it's about setting expectation, isn't it? So there'll be some people listening to this that will go, oh, well, if I was ski racing, I'd motivate myself to get back up. If I was motorbike racing, I'd motivate myself to get back up. But I don't think it's about that, is it? I think it's about actually chasing whatever dream that you're trying to chase and finding that motivation. Cristina, what do you focus on? If we're talking to the kids in the school now and maybe their exams aren't going to go brilliantly, or they don't think they want to chase that job that they want, how do we translate, do you think, what top tips, how can we translate your drive and motivation, which is amazing, to them?
I definitely think that it's important to remind yourself of, first of all, what you want, how you're going to get it, and what you've done so far to get one step closer to your dream or to your goal. And I think I just kind of look back and think about how far I've come, and even the little things that may not seem that important, they're still achievements and they still are important of your journey, I suppose, in a way that you might only be at the very start of your journey, but that goal is still 100% possible. Nothing's like going to stop you from getting it, except from yourself. So I think don't let any little things kind of get in the way of you thinking, oh, but what if I don't? It's probably easier to not chase after your goal, because I think that's part of life, just going for what you want. It doesn't matter what it is.
So I think that's awesome. So set a goal and work out what steps you've got to take to get there. And the kind of really cool thing is, so actually that's something we've looked at, isn't it, over quite a long period of time. And Zoe and I have worked together for longer than perhaps Cristina and I have. And actually, so think about some of the wacky stuff we've done that were not skiing. So what would be the same question to you?
Yeah, we've done a lot of cool stuff together. And actually, at the moment, I do relate to a lot of kids. I left school early, at the age of 16. Now, with actually not a lot of qualifications. And at the moment, kids are going through something really tough where they're maybe not getting the results they wanted. And I'm actually about to go to university. I just got in, which is now 5 years down the line of being out of education. So I've had to find that different route to going forward. I haven't followed a traditional school, university, and a lot of kids actually won't get to do that either because they might not get the results. And it's tough. You feel a bit dejected when something that seems so normal, you feel that you can't do, and it's hard. But there's always another route. That's something you always have to remember, is sometimes if you can't do this one thing the way you thought you were going to do it, that's still your goal, it's still there. Let's see if you can find another way. It's like when we went cycling with the Tour de Gately, and we were cycling along and we came to this hill, and I was cycling up it, and I was slowing down, and I had all these lawyers and stuff who were, not athletes, which I was meant to be at the time, going past me.
You are an athlete, so you are an athlete.
They were going past me, and I was like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to get back up? And I ended up zigzagging up this hill, and I was like, it kind of actually just helped with the day that I was like, I found another way up that. So that's something that's important to remember, is your goal could still be your goal, even if one thing has gone wrong. You can readjust, look at a different path. There's always another way around. Every goal has small steps to it. No one's going straight from learning how to swim at the age of 4 to being an Olympian. you can always look at someone else's life. You know, what have they had to go through to get there? What little steps did they have to take? Think about your exams. You don't go straight from starting the subject to taking the exam. You go to class every day. You learn a new thing every day. So sometimes it's nice to just kind of look back and look at it as a bigger picture and think, what little things have you already done? What little things can you do to get you closer to your goal?
So I think that's brilliant, and I think actually if we combine what Cristina said with what Zoe said, you know, these guys, they're cool sports that are involved in, but they're kind of minority sports, which means there is no contract, right? Nobody's getting paid. Nobody's writing big checks anywhere at any level. Even if you made a world championship, nobody's getting paid. So what you have to do is you have to break these things down. Well, if I'm going to compete at this level, I need a sponsor. If I need a sponsor, I need to represent that sponsor. If I'm going to represent that sponsor, I've got to be able to present properly. I've got to be able to talk in public properly. I've got to. So actually, these guys have spent hours and hours and hours learning the skills that don't involve riding motorbikes or skiing. And I think and they're not cool. They're not cool, but they might help you get towards where it is you want to get up. So right now, guys, if you might be having to do some exams or some lessons that you don't like very much, but maybe they're part of that zigzag that Zoe was talking about and those small steps that Cristina was talking about to get you to where you want to go. Build that arsenal, put those skills together, and ultimately you're going to get to where you're going to go. So, Cristina, if we could give one message, if you right now to everybody listening who's maybe had a bit of a tough time or wants to become more resilient, whatever it might be, what would be your one piece of advice? If you said, do one thing, do this, what would it be?
I think it's most important to have fun and enjoy those little steps, I guess, to get into your goal, because even the little things that may not even feel related, you enjoy and you remember those things. And especially once you reach your goal, you think, oh, that's where I was, however long ago it was, when you were right at the start of kind of making those little steps. And that definitely can reflect and help motivate others.
Sure, I think that's amazing. And guys, some of you may have seen the other kind of little YouTube video that Cristina and I did together. But the bit you perhaps didn't see is that day, Christina's injured. She can't ride a bike. She didn't actually even realise how injured at that point. And we rocked up in a BMW motorbike showroom. It was Motorrad Central. And I said, right, we're going to do some camera work today, and we're going to do some presenting today, didn't we? And here's like a shirt to wear, and here's some uniform to wear. And she was like, right, okay, this is brilliant. This is all new to me. I've not done this before. I'm up for that. And she attacked that with the same enthusiasm as though she was sat in the start gate waiting for lights to go green with the bike revving, and I think that's what I take away from Cristina is, what, actually right now, this is what I can do, what I am going to be a part of, and I'm going to get hold of that. So I think, I back that up, Cristina. And then Zoe, same thing for you, you right now, what advice would you give?
My favourite bit of advice I've ever been given is every little thing you do is making you a better person. So even if you're not working towards a goal, because not everyone has a goal every day. So it can be a silly little thing like your cup of tea today tasted better than it did the other day. That's made you better. You went on a walk today. That's another walk it's one more walk you've done. That makes you better. So every little thing you do in life is making you a better person. Whether it be a big thing, a little thing, just keep doing stuff, keep having a go at stuff, and you're going to get better at everything.
Yeah, and do you know what? And again, Zoe, to pick up on that, I think at the moment there's a danger that everybody's been focusing on what we haven't got, what we can't do, what we're not. We have to wear face masks. We're not allowed this. We're not allowed that. And I'm probably as guilty as everybody. But actually, what an amazing point is focus on what you have done, not what you haven't done. I listen to so many people go, "Oh, I only went to gym twice this week, not 3 times." Actually, you went twice. That's 2 more times than none. So actually, for us mere mortals, that are not international level bike racers and ski racers, take the top tip from what you have done and build on that rather than worry or focus on what you haven't done. So in fact that's where our "because I can" attitude ladies come from, isn't it? Yeah, work out why you can be part of the solution, work out what you can do, and then go and do it. Find a reason to make it happen rather than not to happen. Zoe and Cristina, it's always inspirational to talk to you two. And we'll do some more of this because I think it's really cool. But I think your messaging, guys, out. If you've got kids that are at school, if you've got people that are not seeing a way forward, I would ask you to find them 20 minutes to listen to Cristina and Zoe, send them that message, because I'm quite motivated, quite moved by that message. So, ladies, thank you very much indeed. We will keep rehabbing. I'm hoping we'll do one of these shortly when you're all rehabbed and we can talk about racing. All right?
Thank you very much for having us, Tim.
Thank you. Very much enjoyed it.